Hello everyone and welcome back for some more Drag Race gossip, secrets and drama. I'm back for another Roscoe's recap, and this viewing party was for All Stars 8 episode 10. And the guests this week were Jessica Wilde, who was on All Stars 8, as well as Priyanka, who won Canada's Drag Race Season 1. Today we're going to be talking about why Jessica Wilde made production staff go and get different shoes for the makeover, some backstage tea involving Priyanka and a borrowed sex toy on Canada's Drag Race, and Naysha reveals that Jessica got so drunk while filming her promo shoot for All Stars 8 that she forgot things. All that and more coming up in today's video, so let's get started. So they started out by talking about Alexis Michelle's elimination last week, and Jessica said that from the start of the season, Jessica decided that she would vote however she wanted and she didn't need alliances. And the reason she decided to vote for Alexis to go home was because Alexis got the worst critiques from the judges after the roast. So when Alexis said to Jessica in Untucked that episode that she wouldn't vote for Jessica, Jessica joked and said, quote, "I don't care because I'm going to vote for you." But Jessica made it clear that she was joking and said that she and Alexis are good friends. Naysha then said that Jessica worked really hard on All Stars 8 and hardly ever slept because she was always working, and Naysha asked what the hardest part of being on Drag Race is. Priyanka said that for her, the hardest part of being on Drag Race was, quote, "having to masturbate to your thoughts," and everyone laughed. Priyanka then added that on her season, other queens did bring some adult material with them for that purpose, but none of them shared it with Priyanka. But Priyanka said that Juicebox, who was the first eliminated queen on her season, did bring a fleshlight with her, which she didn't use, and apparently one of the production staff then came to Priyanka's hotel room and gave her the fleshlight from Juicebox. However, from the way that Priyanka said it, it wasn't clear if Priyanka was joking about this story or not, so I asked Juicebox myself whether it was true or not, and Juicebox confirmed that this was totally true. Priyanka also said that on her season, the only queen who would give people compliments was Lemon, and apparently the other queens kept to themselves and didn't want to show any weakness, and Priyanka joked that Canadians are crazy. Priyanka also added that they had a therapist on set for the queens, but apparently the therapist was also, quote, not there, and Priyanka implied as though the therapist didn't really care about the queens' issues. And I'd just like to take a moment to say thank you to the sponsor of today's video, Dinnerly. Dinnerly is an affordable meal delivery service that makes it quick and easy to create tasty meals at affordable prices. All you have to do is choose from over 100 yummy recipes which cater to a wide variety of dietary requirements, select your delivery date, and Dinnerly will provide all the ingredients for you in an insulated box so you can whip up delicious meals in mere moments. And what's more, if you use my code DRAGT190, you'll get up to 60% off your first box plus free shipping. You can also save up to $190 off your first 8 boxes, which works out to just $1.99 per portion for these incredibly tasty meals. Click the link in the description or in the pinned comment to get your discount today. Thanks again to Dinnerly for sponsoring this video. They then moved on, and Naysha brought up that in the second episode of All Stars 8, most of the queens voted for Naysha to go home, but Jessica voted for Kahnna to go home, and Naysha asked Jessica if Kahnna was angry about that. Jessica said that she never had any alliances or promises with anyone in the competition, but she is really close to Naysha and they have been friends for years, so Jessica was never going to vote for Naysha. And Jessica brought up Ralaska Talks, which is Roxy Andrews, Detox and Alaska from Season 5 and All Stars 2, and Jessica said that if Ralaska Talks can save each other, why can't she save one of her friends? And someone in the audience shouted out, quote, "What are you saying about Ralaska Talks?" And it turned out that Detox was in the audience, but you couldn't see her on camera and everyone laughed. But anyway, Jessica then talked about voting for Kahnna to go home in episode 2, and apparently Kahnna was, quote, upset with Jessica for voting for her. And Jessica told Kahnna that the reason she wanted to keep Naysha was because Naysha hadn't had the chance to win a challenge, whereas Kahnna did because Kahnna had won the challenge in the first week. And apparently Kahnna was angry at Jessica for saying that and said, quote, "I didn't come here to win one challenge, I came here to win the competition." And Jessica said that she apologised to Kahnna because she hadn't thought about it in that way and she didn't realise that it would hurt Kahanna's feelings. Naysha then joked and said that Kahnna wasn't there to just win one time, she was there to be in the bottom 3 times. And everyone laughed and Naysha made it clear that she was only joking and that she's friends with Kahnna. And Jessica then joked that what Naysha said was wrong because Kahnna was actually in the bottom 4 times, and everyone laughed again. They then moved on to the challenge for this week, which was the Makeover challenge, where the queens had to make over lesbians. And Naysha said that the queens can bring their own costumes for the Makeover challenge, or they can make them while on set. And Naysha asked Jessica what she did. Jessica revealed that she spoke to a designer and said that she wanted to do an 80s theme and asked the designer to make one costume for Jessica and then make another outfit in a larger size which Jessica could then alter to fit the person. But then when the outfit arrived to the hotel, it was just the fabric and not the full outfit because apparently the designer had run out of time to make the outfits. And so Jessica ended up sewing the outfits herself. Caramel then asked Priyanka whether she had helped her fellow season sister Jimbo get ready for the season, and did she know that Jimbo was going to be on All Stars. Priyanka said that she did know because she was on tour at the time with Jimbo, Candy and Heidi, and all 3 of them got the call at different times and they all told Priyanka secretly. But Priyanka said the only person she did help was Candy, and she gave Candy some extra wigs because Candy needed some more wigs. And Priyanka said that Jimbo didn't need any help and that Jimbo's had a great glow up since her season. Jessica then said that Jimbo had admitted that she had stopped drinking and partying because people had told Jimbo that she was looking old. And apparently those comments really got to Jimbo, and Jimbo felt like she needed to stop partying because it was aging her. And Naysha made the point that it's never okay to tell the queens they look old or to insult the queens because it can really mess with the queens' heads. And Priyanka agreed and said that she also had stopped drinking because she found that when she was hungover, the negative comments online would get to her more and affected her badly because she was hungover. Naysha then told a funny story involving Jessica and drinking and said that when they shot the promos for All Stars 8, all the queens were doing the photo shoots at different times. And apparently Jessica was really nervous because she doesn't like photo shoots, and Naysha and a few of the other queens had already finished their photo shoots and they were drinking. And Jessica then asked Naysha to get her some shots to try and make Jessica feel more relaxed. And so apparently Jessica drank quite a bit, and Naysha joked that, quote, Jessica was definitely drunk when she was doing her promo shoot. Jessica then joked that when the promos came out, Jessica asked why there was a, quote, ugly Jessica Wilde signature on the photo, and she asked who put that there. And apparently Jessica had forgotten that she was the one that did the signature, but because she was so drunk when she did it, she just scribbled it down and it looked really bad. Naysha also said that she actually wrote the signature for 3 of the other queens because they didn't like their own handwriting, but Naysha didn't say who the 3 queens were. They then talked more about the Makeover challenge this week, and Caramel asked how long the queens had to get ready. Jessica said that once they had done the makeover for their partners, they then had only an hour and 20 minutes to get themselves ready, which wasn't enough time. And Jessica said that the queens were, quote, angry about that. Jessica also spilled some backstage tea and said that her makeover partner had really small feet and none of the shoes in the workroom fit her. And Candy's partner was also struggling to walk in the heels that were provided. So apparently Jessica made the production staff go and find different shoes for the queens because it was dangerous for the queens to walk in shoes they didn't feel comfortable in and they might, quote, break a leg. And Jessica said that she went to the producers and said, quote, can you help me please? I need her size for her to walk. I don't give an F if you're going to send me home, but I want her to feel good, and they helped us. They then got to the moment in the episode when Candy won the challenge, and that meant that Jessica and Jimbo were in the bottom. And Naysha asked if Jessica felt confident that Candy was going to save her by sending Jimbo home, and Jessica said, quote, I like to be fair, and she explained that Jimbo had a better track record, so she knew that Candy was likely to keep Jimbo and send home Jessica. And they then showed the part of the episode where Candy chose to eliminate Jessica, and everyone stood up and clapped for Jessica. Naysha then got everyone to also clap for Priyanka, who was the lip sync assassin this week, and she won the lip sync. And Naysha then asked Priyanka what her experience was like as a lip sync assassin. Priyanka said that she was really excited because this was the first time she'd ever met RuPaul, and apparently RuPaul and Priyanka had quite a lot of back and forward conversation which was cut out of the episode. But Priyanka was surprised that RuPaul seemed to know who she was and engaged Priyanka a lot in conversation. Priyanka also spilled some interesting backstage tea, and she said that she knew that the producers weren't really looking at the Canadian queens to be lip sync assassins, and so when Priyanka was on tour, she heard that one of the queens who was supposed to be a lip sync assassin had to drop out, and Priyanka then called the producers and said that she would love to be a lip sync assassin. But apparently they said no and that they were already full, and so a week later Priyanka did a follow-up and called the producers again and asked if they needed a lip sync assassin. And then the next day, Priyanka received an email from them telling her to come to LA quickly because they wanted her to be a lip sync assassin. And Priyanka said that if you don't ask in life, you don't get, and that's a mantra that she's always stood by. They then moved on to the audience Q&A, and an audience member asked about Drag Race Mexico and what their thoughts were on it, especially Naysha and Jessica because they are fellow Spanish speakers. And they both said that it was great representation for Spanish-speaking queens to have a franchise in Spanish. But Naysha said that Valentina, who is one of the hosts, had been criticised by some people because her first language is not Spanish because Valentina is of Mexican origin but was born in the US. And Naysha said that Valentina was doing a great job, and it doesn't matter whether Spanish is her first language or not. And Naysha added that people should give Valentina the credit she deserves for making the effort to learn the language and also promote Latina culture. Another audience member then said that in the earlier seasons of Drag Race, Latinas were often made fun of because of their mannerisms and that they were always the butt of the joke, and they asked how Latina representation on Drag Race has changed from the earlier seasons versus now. Naysha then said, quote, "The show would treat the queens a certain kind of way, and as a result, the audience would do the same or piggyback off that." And Naysha said that there was always a queen from Puerto Rico on the earlier seasons, and the biggest issue was the language barrier. And the queens weren't understanding the jokes and weren't understanding the comedy, and because of that, they got sent home. And Naysha said that the toxic part of the fan base then went along with that and said that the queens weren't talented because they got sent home early. But Naysha made the point that a lot of the Puerto Rican queens do amazing and big production shows in Puerto Rico, and Latina queens are some of the most talented queens in the world, but that wasn't showcased on Drag Race. Naysha also said that it had changed now, and the queens like Jessica being on more recent seasons has helped to change the perception of Latina queens, even if they struggle with the language. And Jessica said she used to get very embarrassed about speaking English, but now she doesn't care and says that people should make an effort to understand her because that is part of who Jessica is, and you shouldn't be ashamed just because English isn't your first language. And finally, an audience member said that both Jessica and Priyanka had been in the Drag Race universe for several years now, and asked how being part of Drag Race has changed the queens' identities both in and out of drag. Priyanka said that out of drag, she now feels sexier ever since she won the show, and Priyanka mentioned that Bob the Drag Queen once tweeted that Priyanka was the, quote, trade of the season. And Priyanka said that after that, she had a lot more confidence to, quote, go on Grindr and have so many threesomes. And Priyanka joked that she had a, quote, dark era right after she won, when she was, quote, wild and free, because she had just been dumped, and so she ended up having a lot of hookups. But Priyanka said that it was a fun time, and she was just joking by calling it a dark era. So there you go, there was the Roscoe's recap for All Stars 8 episode 10. Do you agree with Jessica Wilde's elimination? And who between Jimbo and Candy do you think will win the season? Let me know in the comments. If you'd like to get access to my videos before they go on YouTube, as well as shoutouts in my videos, priority when submitting interview questions, and also access to my archived videos, you can join my Patreon for just a few dollars a month to unlock these incredible benefits. I'll put a link in the description. And I'd just like to say thank you so much to all of my incredible Patreon members. Your support is really amazing and it really does make such a huge difference to my channel, so thank you all so much. Please make sure you like, comment and share this video as it really helps support my channel. And of course, please make sure you hit the subscribe button to stay up to date about new uploads. Thanks for watching and I hope you'll join me again in future videos. Thank you, bye!